what he did, he took all of the religions and the belief systems in the world and synthesized them and put them into one simple, well, kind of simple belief system. Because the thing is, the higher you walk on and climb the rung of the spiritual ladder, it is not a fun journey. It is not easy. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, Ernest Holmes says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. And that is so true, because as we look at our lives, and I was thinking about how we're so conditioned. I was watching, I was down with my grandkids yesterday, and I was watching my granddaughter, how she emulates my daughter. The way her mannerisms, the way they talk. And there was a movie, you remember, I asked this before and I was kind of shocked, people didn't know. South Pacific, do you remember South Pacific?
Not
Okay,
really.
so South Pacific, there's a song in it, and it says, and he's singing the words, and the lyrics are, we are so carefully taught, and he was singing about being prejudiced. And he was singing that we are so carefully taught to be hateful or to have issues with other different kinds of people. And it's beautiful, because you're like, yes, that's very true. So what I want to talk about today is that we have things in our lives that we all have habits of doing. And I talked a little bit about this last week, about finding somebody that was appropriate for me. But it happens where, for example, we have something, financial situations. And if we're constantly having a financial situation, what happens is that we have to look at what we're reflecting out to the universe, okay? And look at what does that mean exactly. So I picked up one of my favorite books. How many of you have read Ask and It Is Given? Okay. Really what it is I would call this a simplified science of mind, okay? Because what she and what her husband at the time, he's made his transition, he's gone now, but Esther and Jerry Hicks. Jerry, I'll tell you a little story about them because it's cute. So if you read the preface to their books, what happens is that he wants to channel in the worst way. I want to be a channel, I want to be a channel, oh, I want to be a channel. And so who gets to be the channel? Esther. Because Esther didn't want to be the channel. Esther didn't want to have anything to do with that. Okay? So all of a sudden she's channeling, and I guess when you channel, it kind of makes your head turn a little ways or whatever. Anyway, it was interesting, because what they talk about is that as we put these vibrational frequencies out into the world, Ernest Holmes calls it a radio tower, and they call it vibrational frequencies. So we're looking at our life, and is there something that repeats all the time in our life? What are we reflecting out to the world? And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, oh, what am I reflecting out to the world? What things have I need to change? What do I continuously have issues with? And it's to really, on the spiritual path, to look at that and be present to, and be brave enough to look at that for yourself and see what that is. Are you all aware of the patterns that keep repeating in your life? Are you aware of them? Yes? No?
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty much.
Okay. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about how to change that. So as Esther and Jerry Hicks, or as Abraham is the entities or the frequency that they channel, they talk about putting rockets of desire out to the world. In other words, we call it prayer treatment. They call it rockets of desire, okay? So we say we will create a positive statement about our life, we pray on it, and that's how we do it. But as Esther and Jerry Hicks, or what Abraham talks about, is that unless we match that vibrational frequency, it's not going to change a darn thing in your world, okay? So if you keep saying, I'm broke, I don't have any money, I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of debt. Well, the universe and the frequency will say, all right, we're going to just keep bringing that right to you.
Yes,
and that's amen, right? And that's really what happens. So it doesn't matter how much, oh God, you need to help me out of this situation. No, you need to help yourself out of the situation. And that's really what it's about. Because as we are this is what I do in practitioner sessions or in spiritual counseling sessions. So I'm with a friend of mine and she looks at me and she says, you know what I realized, and this was a good realization, I complain a lot. I look, wow, really? And then I thought, I guess she does, but I don't even notice it anymore. So anyway, and so she says, I really had to she had to go on a trip with some people, and normally she'll, all those people, it's crazy, I can't stand it. Remember when I was talking about the negative Nellies and about the complainers, windy whiner, the whiners. So she realized she was being a windy whiner. And she realized that she had to stop doing that because that frequency of always complaining is going to create more complaints to come into your life. Let's create more for her to complain about. Oh, geez, we just want to make her happy, so let's do it, right? And that's what the universe does. And when you look at it like that, and you can laugh about it, that's really what we have to do. So as we do that, when I was in sales, there was a man named, have you heard of Earl Nightingale? He wrote a lot of books, and when I was in sales, we used to study him. He says, our environment, the world in which we live and work, is a mirror of our attitudes and expectations. Now, as I talked about last week, what happens is that we get caught in a rut, and we get caught in, what am I going to say? It's a habit. It's a bad habit. So what I wanted all of us to do today, and we'll all work on this together, and we're going to share. So what we're going to do is work on the thing that you would like to shift in your life. Because if you want to change the frequency, you have to practice, practice, practice about changing what you want. So I have a little book that is called the 5-Minute Journal. Let's say somebody has an issue with, and you've got to go back into the backstory, okay? Why am I always complaining about money? Okay, why am I always having this situation? And it could, I'm saying this is for anybody, general. And it could be that the parents were always whining and moaning. Oh, we can't spend that money. We're going to be broke. Oh, we can't go do that because we won't have enough to pay our bills. And if that was a message growing up, that's going to be the message continuously. Then let's say somebody has a health problem in the family, and they're constantly whining and moaning about their health, and they're having issues with that. And the individual grows up with that. They're going to have a problem with not taking that in, right, about their health. And they're going to have to change that situation. If somebody has a fear, let's say somebody, I don't know, this is just, somebody was injured in a car accident. And then that child saw that and now has a fear of driving in a car. So these are the things that have to get changed in our subconscious and unconscious mind. So here's one of the things that Raymond Charles Barker says, and he's an old-time Science of Mind minister, but he was in the New York church at that church. And Raymond Charles Barker would talk about in his prayers, and I want you to do this when you're doing your affirmations, that this affirmation is being accepted in my unconscious and my subconscious mind, because there's layers of, I'm going to say, programming that you can't get to on a conscious level that you have to become aware of. And I really love that because I thought, well, then I don't have to worry about digging up the layers. You don't have to worry. Okay, the reason why we do prayer treatment versus therapy is that we do therapy when you've got some really huge issues and you need to get through them, okay? But if you want to do it on a spiritual level, you don't worry about, unless it's a really hard issue, go see a therapist or a psychiatrist. But if you want to develop on a spiritual basis, then what happens is let go of worrying about all of the stuff and continue to just hold what you do desire. Because, as Abraham says, the vibrational frequency will change that in your life. Now, is it easy to do? Is it easy to do? Yeah?
Yes.
No, it's not, because it's a habit, right?
Yes.
And it is something that is so ingrained in us. So I have the lovely Denise back there is going to, I know, see, she's doing that. She's doing that. So she's going to cut up some papers, But I want us to talk about this a little bit, because you can walk out, oh, that was a great talk, Rev. Okay, that's nice. How are you going to apply this stuff to your life? And how are you going to change it where you walk in next Sunday and you're saying, dang, that was fantastic. I've got a whole new shift and a whole new attitude in my life. Because I've done it, but we all fall back, don't we? Because it's working for a while. Oh, that's so great. And then I stop doing it. Anybody else do that?
Yep.
Because it really is. You find something that works. And then the mind goes, we're not going to let her controlling me. And so we are the masters of our universe. We are the mistresses of our universe, because we have the ability to be, do, and have anything we want. And I remember I told that to my daughter. And you know, that went into her unconscious mind and her subconscious mind. Do you know that child has never wanted for anything from the day she left my house? She has married guys that were okay financially. And then she married somebody that they have no worries whatsoever, and I'm like, thank you, God. I don't have to take care of that child. So it's great, because we can do the same thing for ourselves. We're going to talk to that little inner child within us to allow us to reprogram what goes on in our mind, okay? So have anybody, and I remember taking this in my ministerial class, we did a lot of inner visualizations. How many of you do that, or have you done it in a long time? Okay. So what I want you to do is just take a little quick peek and make it up in your mind if you don't think you see it, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go talk to that little boy or little girl inside of you, just for a moment. Just for a moment, just take a little look and see what they look like. Because I'm going to share, well, no, I'm not going to tell you, because that's going to put you in your mind. Okay, so we're just going to go take a moment, take a breath, and just allow yourselves to be present. And visualize what you looked like when you were a little child. And as you see that image of that little child, go up to that child and just, in your mind, just say, how are you doing? And I want you to notice what that child looks like, what they're wearing, and their attitude towards you. And I'll talk about that in a minute, why. So as you see that, you feel it. Yeah. And just give them a little hug. Say, I love you. Do you know I love you so much? Give them a little hug. And then gently say, I'm going to see you whenever you need me, so just give me a little sign, and I'll come and give you a little hug whenever you need it. Or words of affirmation, whatever it is that child is telling you they need. So gently say goodbye, hug them, kiss them. And you're going to come back into this room, feel yourself in your chair, and open your eyes. So the first thing I want you to be aware of, what was your child wearing? What did they look like? Okay? So what did they look like? What was their attitude? Were they happy? Were they sad? What was their attitude? And then when you gave them the hug, did they love it? Did that make you feel good and them feel good? Okay? So I'm sharing that because when we ignore that inner world and we ignore that child within us, what happens is I got to a place where I went and I met with my little inner child, and she was wearing rags and her hair was dirty because I had ignored her for years, literally years. And because I was trying to work with my inner critic, and I was, I need to work with my inner critic, because I was at a conference and they were having us go through this, and she pushed the inner critic aside and said, you pay attention to me. And I thought, wow, okay. So whatever inner part of you needs to speak to you, it'll shove the other one out, and it's going to speak to you, and it's going to help you to heal that divine within you, okay? So talking to that beautiful little child, it's a way to heal you and a way to shift your life. So right now, along with that, we're gonna hand out some pencils and some paper. And we're going to write, so everybody raise their hand. You got something that's constant in your life, right? Anybody not? Anybody have no issues at all? Okay, none. You're not too sensitive, you got plenty of money, your health is divine, you live where you want to live, you got a great job, right? All that, you have fabulous relationship. Nobody's raising their hand. Oh, fascinating.
I got 2 hands up.
Okay.
I can put a foot up too.
So we're gonna do a little short workshop, because I want you, mini workshop. I want you to shift it right now in this moment. So let me share. I went and had, this is funny. I went and had a crown done. And anybody like going to the dentist like me? So I know, I love it. I love going to the dentist. Anyway, so the dentist, and so the girls in the front said, that's going to cost $1,201. And I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of money. Then the dentist comes in later and he says, I put a filling in that too, so I'm going to give you a discount on that. I'm like, praise God, yeah. So then I'm taking my walk, and this is why I'm telling you to practice. Then I'm taking my walk, and I'm walking, I'm like, oh, I know he's giving me a great discount. It's going to be $900 or less. So, seriously, and I keep thinking, I'm putting my rockets of desire out there, and I'm putting that out to the world, right? Because if you don't do that, you ain't going to get it, people. So you have to practice this and do this. So I'm taking my walk, and a couple hours later, the dentist's office calls. And you know how much that is going to cost me? $882. I should have said under $800. Okay? So be careful what you say. All right? But the thing is, the reality and the reflection and the mirror outside in your world can be changed by you. Okay? You can change what's going to occur in your life. You can change what happens. When we were looking to put that floor in, Tony comes in, I'm thinking, oh, geez, it's going to probably be like $1,200. And he said, oh, I'll do it for $6. Okay? So it's focusing on what you desire. So with that, here's exactly what Ernest Holmes says and what Abraham says. Do not focus on the negative statements. And we're not Pollyannas. I understand that. But like when I heard the fires were occurring by my house and down in that area, I'm like, okay, the winds are dissipating and the firefighters are effective. That's how you say it, right? Okay, so what's the presenting thing in your life? You're going to write the opposite, whether you believe it or not. What do you want in your life? Okay, and if anybody wants to share, I'll use you as an example. What do you want to shift in your life? And you don't have to. You can keep it to yourself. Okay? But, for me, it's like I want to continuously have a little bit more in order not to pay bills all the time, to just go and enjoy my life. It's like, okay, I can have more abundance in my life. I was thinking about it this week. I was going, I am comfortable financially. Oh, how many want that? And
yes.
What does comfortable mean? All right? So what does that mean to you? Or, I have divine perfect health. I have divine perfect health. What does that look like for you? And anybody else, do you need any help with this? You're going to do the opposite in a positive, frame it in a positive way, but it has to feel good for you. And it has to feel, you have to feel that vibrational connection and that frequency. Ernest Holmes talks about it, Abraham talks about it, because if you don't feel it and it doesn't feel right, then it's not going to work and it doesn't resonate for you, yes? So with that, with me, I thought, I don't want to say I'm financially free because that's a bunch of bunk. I can't believe it. So I can say I am financially comfortable. That feels good. So as you're writing your statement down, write it down, and if you go, that's not it, you write another one, okay? You have to write another one that feels good. If you're looking for a place to live or you're looking for a job, then I am attracting the perfect job or situation to me. I'm attracting the perfect job or situation to me, or whatever you want to use, okay? What else? Anybody else? I'm attracting the perfect, what, Roxy? Go ahead.
I am financially responsible. My money is stacking high in my bank account.
Oh, yeah! There we go. Okay? Because that feels good for Roxy.
Yes.
All right, so any other situation? Anybody have anything around health or anything else? What else? Yeah, Brian.
Good outcomes will always result from everything I focus on.
Oh, and that's perfect for you.
That's awesome.
That's perfect, because I know there's things going on in his life, so yes, that's perfect. Say that again, because that would be good for anybody.
Do I get backstory or just say it?
No, just say it, just
Good
say it.
outcomes will always result from everything I focus on.
Yes, and that's beautiful, okay? Anybody else want to share your positive statement? Yes.
I live in a beautiful, organized home.
Oh, there, Lynn, she's still working on that organization.
Neat and tidy. I enjoy keeping everything in its place.
All
Notice
right.
I didn't say clutter-free. I almost wrote
That-
that.
See what I mean? Because that has a negative frequency to
Now
it,
I'm
right?
talking about
Because
clutter.
you focus on clutter. So say yours again. Stand up and say it. Come on, be proud.
I live in a beautiful, organized home. Neat and tidy. I enjoy keeping everything in its place.
Ooh, I love
And
it.
so it is, and so it is for Brian's and whoever else I heard. Okay, oh, Roxy's, and so it is, okay. Anybody else want to share yours? Speak your word, yeah. And what is your name, my darling?
My name is Zoe.
Zoe? Nice to meet you, Zoe.
I had events where I chose the pauper, and I have wealth beyond threefold and enough to share.
Oh,
To share.
I love
I
it.
love that.
I love it. But you picked the perfect man. I picked the perfect man for me. I picked the perfect man for me. And you did, darling, okay? Because love trumps it all. It does. Love takes precedent over everything. Because that'll bring all your heart's desires into your life, okay? Because sometimes we think we want something and it's not necessarily going to be for our highest and best good. That's why the vibrational frequency in your body has to be felt and it has to feel like it's appropriate for you, okay? Because, we forget to say that, and I remember in the Science of Mind classes and all the time when we pray, I'm getting goosebumps right now, because that's truth. It's the truth. Okay, anybody else? One more and I'll close out. Linda.
I am divinely protected. I am lavishly supplied.
Oh! Okay, I am divinely protected and I'm lavishly
You be
supplied.
comfortable. I will be lavishly supplied.
Woo! Wait a minute, where's my pen? I'm changing. Okay, I'm changing. That's great. Wow, lavishly supplied. That's why we do this, because I get good ideas. Anyway, that's fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, anybody else before we close out?
Yeah.
Okay, George.
Yeah,
George.
Yeah, well, this is for my wife because she's been dealing with a problem with her sister passed away and the property is in
Oh, yes.
total chaos and they've had bad people living there and it's been really an albatross around her neck. So I want to say that Santa Rosa property is transformed, peaceful, and beautiful.
All right.
I feel that. Yes.
That's beautiful. Yes.
I see it. I feel that. Yes. Let's all hold that with George. And so it is. Wow. Beautiful. Oh, I just got goosies. Okay. It's done. It's already done. Okay. And okay, Roxy, you got one more?
I got one more. I
Okay.
am loved wholly, accepted totally, and all my relationships feed my soul.
Okay, stand up and say that out loud. We can have us repeat after you. We don't
Yes.
do that.
All right. I am loved wholly,
I am loved wholly,
accepted totally,
accepted totally,
and all my relationships feed my soul.
and all my relationships feed my soul. And so it is. the testimonies after this week, okay? I want the testimonies. I want to see what shifted and what occurred, because it will happen. Where two or more are gathered, it changes the vibrational frequency of all of our lives, okay? So thank you, beloveds. Have a great week, and thank you for being here. I am grateful.
Okay.
And with that, we have George